Have you ever stopped to wonder, who put the moon up there? Why do scientists think it simply shouldn't exist? Think about it. This massive object has been hanging over our heads for billions of years, always showing us the exact same face. It watched as life crawled from the oceans, as single cells slowly became us. We've grown so used to it being there that we barely question it. But when astronomers began seriously examining the moon, the questions started piling up. What exactly is the moon? Its diameter is 1/4 of Earth's. Its mass is 1/81st of Earth's. Within the entire solar system's family of planets and their moons, this ratio is completely unique. It makes no sense. It's like a full-grown lion being followed around by a half-sized cheetah as a sidekick. That's not how things are supposed to work. And it gets stranger. Seismic data from the Apollo missions showed that when the moon is struck by a meteorite, it rings like a giant bell, humming and reverberating for hours. That phenomenon sparked one of the most outlandish ideas in astronomy. The moon might be hollow. Add to that its nearly perfect circular orbit and the eerie way it's tidally locked, forever showing only one face to Earth. And you have a collection of clues strange enough to shake everything we thought we knew. Is it a watchtower, monitoring life on Earth? A cosmic coincidence born from the Big Bang? Or the only witness to some ancient catastrophe in the early solar system? Grab a drink and settle in. We're about to unpack the most familiar mystery in the sky. This object that's been hanging over our heads for 4.5 billion years. Where did it actually come from? To crack this mystery, we have to start with one of history's boldest thinkers. His name was George Darwin. Yes, son of that Darwin, the one who gave us evolution. George proposed a wildly imaginative theory. He believed that billions of years ago, the early Earth was a fast-spinning ball of fire, its entire surface a churning ocean of molten rock. It was spinning so fast that the centrifugal force stretched the planet into an oblong shape, like a rugby ball, and then, in one violent moment, it flung a massive chunk of itself out into space. That chunk, he argued, became the moon. Vivid image, right? The planet spinning so hard it gave birth to a daughter it couldn't hold on to. But the problems hit immediately. How fast would Earth have needed to spin to throw off a chunk that large? Scientists ran the calculations. And the answer came back, a full rotation every 2.5 hours. That's physically impossible. No model can support that kind of rotational speed. And then came the knockout punch. Chemical analysis revealed that the moon is severely depleted in iron, while Earth's interior is rich with it. The compositions don't match a mother and daughter. Fission theory eliminated. So if it wasn't born from Earth, maybe it was captured. In astronomy, if you're massive enough and something drifts into your gravitational territory, pulling it in isn't unheard of. Mars and Jupiter have moons that were almost certainly captured this way. So the story goes, a rogue moon wandering the solar system, minding its own business, until it drifted too close to Earth's gravitational trap, took a wrong turn, and ended up staying for 4.5 billion years. That sounds plausible, right? But the orbital mechanics experts immediately stepped in to pour cold water on it. Capturing an object this large into a near-perfect circular orbit isn't just difficult, the probability is so vanishingly small it's practically zero. And once again, isotope analysis delivered the fatal blow. The chemical signatures of Earth and the Moon show they were born in the same region of the solar system. The Moon is no outsider. Capture theory eliminated. At this point, the entire field of astronomy fell quiet. The two most logical origin stories had both collapsed. But wait. That last piece of evidence left a critical clue sitting in plain sight. If they came from the same neighborhood, doesn't that mean they share the same origin? That opened the door to a third theory. What if they're twins? What if, in the same vast cloud of dust and gas, two planets formed simultaneously? One larger, one smaller. This nearly perfectly explained the chemical similarities. For a while, many scientists felt confident this had to be the answer. And then the old problem came back. Harder than ever. If they're twins, why does Earth have a massive iron core at its center while the Moon barely has one at all, like a sibling who didn't develop the same way? That doesn't add up. Co-formation theory eliminated. 3 theories: fission, capture, co-formation. All knocked down. Mainstream science seemed to have hit a wall, and while researchers sat puzzling over the strange seismic data the Apollo missions had returned, something new was emerging. The boldest, most unsettling idea yet. What if the moon isn't a natural object at all? What if it's an engineered vessel, a massive artificial spacecraft? Before you laugh, Hear this out. The spaceship moon hypothesis wasn't built on imagination. It was built on every anomaly that mainstream science couldn't explain. First, why might the moon be hollow? Because Apollo's seismic experiments showed it rings like a bell when struck. A completely solid rock doesn't do that. But a spacecraft with a reinforced hull and an interior cavity, that would. Second, why is the moon so disproportionately large relative to Earth? Because if it were a designed outpost, an observation base, it would need sufficient volume to house equipment, power systems, and to maintain stable orbit. Third, and most unnerving, lunar samples revealed unusually high concentrations of titanium and other high melting point, high-strength rare metals on the moon's surface. These are the same materials used on Earth to build the most advanced spacecraft. Why would they be distributed across the lunar surface like that? Every one of these anomalies that mainstream science struggled to explain seemed to point toward the same chilling possibility. The moon is an enormous artificial structure deliberately parked in Earth's orbit by some advanced civilization. Admit it, that's more thrilling than anything we've covered so far. But science is only as good as its evidence. And as more advanced data came in, this story met its end. The hollow moon idea turned out to be a misunderstanding. The reason lunar seismic waves travel so long and so far is that the moon's interior is extraordinarily dry, dense, and structurally uniform. Unlike Earth, which is fractured by water, tectonic plates, and geological chaos. Seismic energy travels through the moon the way sound moves through a perfect, unbroken stone. Long resonance doesn't mean hollow. And those metallic elements? Their isotopic ratios and distribution patterns align perfectly with the natural processes of early solar system formation, no signs of manufacturing, no artificial signatures. As compelling as the spaceship moon theory was, the evidence filed it firmly back into science fiction. So, not born from Earth, not captured, not a twin, not a spacecraft, then what? All those collapsed theories weren't wasted. Every piece of evidence they left behind, the moon's abnormal size, the missing iron core, the chemistry that's both similar and different, those fragments all pointed toward one answer. An answer far more violent and more extraordinary than any science fiction story. To explain everything, we have to go back to the beginning. Back to the scene of a cosmic crime. This is the giant impact hypothesis. Today's leading theory. Not a gentle family origin story. A full-scale cosmic disaster film. Rewind to 4.5 billion years ago. The early Earth, sometimes called Gaia, existed in a solar system that looked nothing like it does today. It was a chaotic cosmic billiard table full of planetary bodies still forming and colliding. One of them was a Mars-sized planet scientists have named Theia. Theia didn't hit Earth head-on. It came in at an oblique angle, a glancing blow. The impact was beyond anything we can truly imagine. Theia was shattered. Earth's mantle was torn open. Hundreds of billions of tons of molten rock were hurled into space, forming a ring of debris glowing deep red around the planet. Picture that. But destruction was only the beginning. Gravity pulled those fragments together. Like a snowball rolling downhill, the debris coalesced rapidly. And in a cosmically short period of time, it formed the moon. The story fits perfectly. This theory works like a master key, unlocking every mystery at once. Why is the moon so large? Because it was blasted out by an entire planet, there was plenty of raw material. Why is it iron poor? Because the impact ejected mantle material, and the heavy iron cores of both Earth and Theia sank into the newly reformed Earth. Why does the moon's chemistry look both like Earth's and not quite like Earth's? Because it's a mixture of both Gaia and Theia. Every piece of evidence points to Theia. The logic is airtight. Motive, method, result. All accounted for. Case closed, right? Not quite. Just as scientists were ready to celebrate, the Apollo samples spoke again. This time through more precise instruments, and what they said changed everything. The first crack. Theia's ghost. Updated isotope comparisons revealed the moon's composition is almost identical to Earth's. Suspiciously so, as if the moon came almost entirely from Earth. If it's truly a mixture of two planets, where did Theia's signature go? Did it just vanish? To explain this, scientists had to propose something even more extreme. That the collision was so energetic, both planets were completely vaporized, turned to gas, before mixing together. One mystery solved by proposing an even bigger one. The second crack, the missing volatiles. The moon is extraordinarily depleted in water, sodium, and other elements that evaporate easily. The intense heat of the impact explains some of this. But the moon is drier than even the most extreme models predict. That excess loss remains unexplained. The third crack, the temperature problem. Isotope analysis of lunar samples hints that the temperatures involved in the moon's formation were even higher than our most extreme giant impact simulations can account for. The violence of that collision may have exceeded what our current understanding of physics can model. So even our best, most successful theory has gaps. What we thought was a closing statement is actually just the opening of a new investigation. The moon, silent, patient, ancient, is still keeping its deepest secrets. One collision, two worlds, from creation's catastrophe to the harbor of civilizations. This 4.5 billion year cosmic cold case remains open. But here's the thing about that catastrophe. For us, it was the luckiest accident in the universe. That impact gave Earth a stable axial tilt, which gave us stable seasons. It gave us a massive gravitational shield that has spent billions of years deflecting deadly impactors away from our planet. The tidal forces driven by the moon churned the ancient shorelines where the first chemistry of life may have assembled. So when we look up at the moon, we're not just seeing the survivor of a disaster, we're seeing a guardian. 4.5 billion years ago, a chance collision shaped our world. And without meaning to, left us a protector in the sky. Maybe the end of that ancient catastrophe isn't just the origin of life on Earth. Maybe it's the launch pad for everything humanity will one day become. Next time you look up and see the moon, I hope you see more than just a light in the sky. I hope you see an epic that began before our planet fully existed, a promise of what's still possible, and the greatest reminder of what has always driven us forward, the relentless, extraordinary human need to understand.